Are you responsible for your loved one's debt after death? We're going to talk about that coming up.
Stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Talent.
And I'm Ty, and we're from hisandhermoney.com, where we're showing you how to have better money,
Become a better couple,
and live a better life.
This video is being brought to you by Legal & General America.
It's time to get your life insurance together with Legal & General America. As one of the nation's leaders in low-cost, high-quality life insurance to over 1.3 million families, we know how to protect you. For nearly 7 decades, we've been the first and only carrier to add 10 more years of security to our policies for a total of 40 years of life insurance coverage. If you need basic protection until retirement, that deal is perfect. Legal & General America makes understanding and applying for life insurance easy. Our agents are standing by to help you determine the best coverage to fit your family's needs. Visit hisandhermoney.com/LGA to get started on your journey toward financial wellness.
So listen, this is an important conversation that we're about to have.
Yeah.
So we need you to pay attention, because one thing about us, we like to tackle things that most people aren't tackling, because we want to make sure that you're well equipped, period, when it comes to your finances. We want you not only thinking about today, but we want you to think about the future today. We don't want you to wait until the future comes and you're like scrambling for answers. And I think today's topic is going to help you in that area.
So what actually sparked this topic was a faithful follower of ours inboxed us on Instagram and said, oh my goodness, did you guys check out the story in regards to Nipsey Hussle? His estate is being sued from a credit card company, and she basically told me, I think it was she, I don't know if it was her or her husband that was actually commenting to us, but like, oh my gosh, like we have to be responsible for our family's debt as well, and we're also trying to take care of our debt. That's when we realized that, hey, I think that we need to probably bring some type of educational video to you guys, because I honestly think that, like you said, not enough people are talking about this topic, and I think that there are a lot of misconceptions out there. I think that there are a lot of untruths out there. I think that a lot of people think, oh, well, when my loved one passed, I don't have to necessarily worry about their debt, and if I pass, they don't have to worry about my debt, and that's not actually true. And we're going to dive in a little bit deeper on why it is so important that you know this information so you can be prepared.
So the question is, are you responsible for your loved one's debt after they pass away? And the answer is maybe. Maybe. In some situations, it's a definite yes. And in some situations, it is a maybe. And it has a lot of variables in play. You have to consider what state you live in. You have to consider the type of debt that it is. But yeah, there are some things that you are definitely responsible for.
So yes, the question or the answer is maybe. Sometimes yes and sometimes no. Anytime anyone passes, there is an estate, whether it's a positive one or a negative one. An estate is simply anything that that person owned at the time of death. And so you have to really look at this. Honestly, I do believe if you want Ty's definition, then yes, you are making your family responsible for how you steward your money now and how you prepare your affairs now, so that if you were to pass on, your family is either going to reap positively or negatively. So we're gonna just talk about a few debts to kind of give you guys, I guess a little brief overview, like if you'll be responsible or you may not.
So let's look at home mortgages. The question is, can I be responsible for a mortgage if my loved one passes away? And the answer is yes. Now, they're not going to call the mortgage due in full, but if you are a co-signer on the loan for the mortgage, then yes, you are responsible for the balance, and the mortgage payments continue, and they are going to continue to come your way. So just because they passed on doesn't mean that the mortgage is forgiven or that you can just walk away cleanly from the home. No, if you do that, if you start to become behind on payments, then that mortgage company is going to come towards that estate and start to put in a request to have money withdrawn from the estate. And all money that goes to creditors from the estate is money that cannot be passed down to loved ones.
Now, what if someone inherits a home? Same thing. If there's a mortgage on that particular home, whether it even be a home equity line of credit or a loan, the person that inherits the home would be responsible for having to pay the mortgage. You don't just get a home free and clear if there's still a mortgage or a debt that's owed on the home. This is why it's so important, you all, and you all hear us, and we're going to keep saying it. This is one of the reasons why it's so important that you have life insurance in place. This particular video sponsor, Legal in General, if you just go to hisandhermoney.com/LGA, you can get an instant quote. Guys, it takes 30 seconds just to see where you stand, just to see how much you can qualify for. You can even play around with the numbers. But this is why it's so important that you leave life insurance for your family, because if someone inherits that home, you don't want your family member or your loved one being responsible of paying the note. But wouldn't it be really nice that if you left a policy large enough that they'll be able to then keep the home, pay that off, pay off any other, debts that maybe they're responsible for, and just live a life without having to necessarily worry about payments. This is why it's so important. Life insurance is bigger than just, making sure that cash goes in the pocket of your loved ones. It's also taking care of their affairs. There are going to be some things that they may inherit. And do you want them to pay for that? So you have to look at that even in the area of a home. A lot of times homes are inherited or passed down, but so is that particular debt. Somebody still has to pay for it.
Let's talk about credit card debt, because that was the topic of this article that we read. A major credit card company put in a lawsuit against the estate of Nipsey Hussle for almost $50,000 in unpaid credit card bills. So, yes, they can come after the estate of the person that has passed away. If there is money in the estate that is enough to cover the credit card bills, or the assets, and that can be sold to cover the credit card bills, yes, they can put in a lawsuit, and they have a right to come after the estate to take care of those unpaid credit card bills. So the answer to that situation is they can come after the estate to pay for the credit card debt after your loved one is gone.
Now, student loans, it depends whether or not they are private or federal. In the case of it being a private loan, then yes, those particular private loan companies can come after the estate. They can also make the joint or the co-signer responsible for that. So again, look at your entire financial situation. It's bigger than you. It's not just about you. It's also about your loved ones. How will they be responsible for this if something was to happen to you? And so this is why we're having these conversations with you guys, because you really do need to face this, head on and do something about it.
And we talked about one of the variables that comes into play with these is the type of state that you live in. Some states in our country are known as community property states. And in those situations, spouses become liable for particular types of debt. When we're talking about student loans, if you are married and the student loans are taken out during the marriage in these community property states, the spouse is left on the hook. They're not on the hook for any student loans that predated the marriage in these situations. But man, if you went back, you got a master's or a doctorate degree during your marriage, took out student loans, you pass away in these community property states, your spouse is left on the hook.
And let me just add this, in community property states, that's also the case with other debts, credit card debts and things like that. You may say, well, I'm not a joint owner or a co-signer on a particular debt or the credit card, but guess what? If you live in a community property state, if that debt was incurred during the marriage, they look at it as if it's joint. They also look at the money as if it's joint as well too. So they can look at your income, they can look at all money that's coming into the household, and they can make you liable and make you pay for that.
So how can you protect yourself against these situations? Well, first thing is to get out of debt. Don't leave any debt for your loved ones. Be proactive in paying off credit cards and student loans and home mortgages and home lines of credit. Do what you can to get out of debt, because we don't tell you this just, again, with a focus on today to make you feel better today, but you are leaving an inheritance. And sometimes inheritance isn't just the money you leave, it is also the debt that you don't leave behind. That is also an inheritance. Number two is, as we talked about, the importance of term life insurance. The good thing about life insurance, there are many benefits, and we've talked to you all about it over and over again, but one of the things that you need to consider that you may not be is that in situations like this, when you have a beneficiary, the person that is the beneficiary receives the life insurance death benefit. The death benefit does not go into the estate and therefore become responsible for being dispersed to the debts. Okay? That's important, because again, if you because we don't know when we're going to leave here, but if you leave here and you have all these debts, like Ty said earlier, you want to put your family in a position to be okay. You don't want to leave them susceptible to having a mountain of debt, dealing with the grief of you being gone, and also dealing with the pain of trying to figure out how we're going to tackle these debts that were left behind. So, man, just go take a few minutes and at least get yourself a quote to know, okay, this is how much it will cost us a month to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our loved ones. You can go to hisandhermoney.com/LGA to get a completely free quote.
That's right. And the links will also be in the description box below. But you bring up a very, very good point. Retirement accounts and life insurance policies do not enter into the estate. That goes directly to the beneficiary. So hence another reason why, again, you want to have these certain things in place to make sure that your loved ones do not have to worry about giving that extra cash off. They can actually live off of it. They can do anything, pretty much your wishes, your desires, anything. They can take care of their life, the children, whatever. They can do that without having to answer to the probate courts or to the estate. Now, when you have an estate, there is also someone that is an executor. The executor makes sure that they disperses and makes sure that everything goes according to the will, the trust, whatever is left. And then after all debts are paid from the assets, whether or not assets have to be sold off, then it goes into probate court. And guys, this can take a while. You know what I mean? It can take a long time. In some cases, it even takes years, right? Before the family members are actually dispersed certain things that's part of the estate. Another reason why you want to make sure that you do what you can control. Get out of debt, okay? Also, make sure that you have your life insurance in place and also have the real true conversations with your family. Now, guys, we are not attorneys whatsoever.
Not even close.
Okay, and we are so sure that there are probably some things maybe that we left out of the video and things like that. Make sure that you consult with an attorney just to make sure that in your situation, everything is right and tight.
That's right. And lastly, don't forget, because some of you already have life insurance policies and maybe they're from back in the day.
Yeah.
You need to check the beneficiaries, because if the case happens, you pass, and
So
the
true.
beneficiary that you have listed has also passed, now that money gets thrown into the estate and becomes susceptible for the debts that you left behind. So don't just get
That's so true.
an insurance policy. Make sure that it's up to date.
That's right, guys. Well, we hope that you all enjoyed this video. Share it, okay? Someone needs to hear this information. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, give it a thumbs up. That will let us know, hey, that you guys enjoy this content and for us to bring more. Don't forget that we have a ton of information over at our website at hisandhermoney.com. We also have a fantastic podcast called The His and Her Money Show. You can find us in iTunes, all of your outlets that you
Everywhere.
listen to. Right, a podcast, right? I love to listen to podcasts while we're driving, while we're working out. You guys need to be learning as you go about your day. And if you are not subscribed to this channel, make sure that you subscribe so you can stay up to date, and also hit that little notification bell to stay up to date with any and all of our new videos that come out.
That's all we got for this time, guys. It's been great. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.